So here's the question. How do I start my downswing? Well, the fact is we've read it a lot, we've heard it a lot to say the downswing starts from ground up, which means my foot, my knee, my hip, the low body starts the downswing, and then obviously the energy transfers from the hips to the core, to the torso, to the arms, to the hands, and to the club head, and that's how the energy multiplies into the speed that the club head delivers to the ball. But in this all, it's important that the first move down actually is your lower body, is your hip. Let's take it as my left leg or my left hip, and it's important that I start with that even before the top of the backswing is reached. When my club is about to finish my backswing, the lower body is already starting. Now, how do we achieve this? So here's a really good drill that you can do this indoors, and just to inculcate the habit and get the impulse going for you that when you're finishing your backswing, the hip starts. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to hold your club really softly. From here, the idea is that you're going to swing your arms really softly, swing your arms back. While the arms are swinging back, you're going to start opening up your left hip. So the motion will be arms are going backwards, arms and club are going backwards. While they're going backwards, the hip opens up. So we're going to do this a couple of times, which is arms going back, hip opens up. Arms going back, hip opens up. This time we're going to swing. So we're going to go arms going back, hip opens up, and then we're going to swing through. Once more. Arms going back, hip opens up, and we're going to swing through. So that's the impulse that we're creating to say arms and the club goes back. While they're going back, the hip opens. Once the hip opens, the arms and the club swing through. The important factor here is that your impulse of the hip starting must come just before the hands are finished. There's no point that you go here, you finish your backswing, and then you say, okay, let's start the hip. That's not the correct sequence. The correct sequence is as you're going up, the hip starts and the arms, and you can see how the club is lagging behind me. That's the famous lag lots of people talk about. It happens because you haven't yet finished, your arms haven't yet finished the backswing and the hip just starts. Try this at home, get the impulse of the left hip going before the hands finish, and then the next sequencing can happen after.